Osiris.
One of these days we're gonna get our intro right. We're gonna start strong.
I don't think have we ever really even had an intro?
No, we haven't had it. This is our intro.
Are we live? Yeah, the intro is me trying to figure out how to share this to all goes. So
yeah. Hey Neil. Neil's here first again, always.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you, Neil, for joining.
Neil loves the intros.
We're trying something a little bit new today, different camera angle. Normally we look like this. Now look at us now. How about that?
Look at us now.
Look at us now. So what's up, everyone? Hey, Neil. Thanks for joining. Hey, Ryan Storm. Hope you had a great week out there with the guys. What's up, Jive Goose? What's up, EJ? Thank you all for hopping in today. Bruce, you get that shared in El Goose?
Well, I thought this was still... Isn't this still the intro? I mean, that's the whole... I got to... Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. This is still the intro. You're right. We're still introing here. Hey, John. This time's up in the mix. What's up, Tina?
There we go.
We got
it was the delay on Facebook that was the problem. So not me.
That's it. All right, we're here now. We got a whole lot to talk about today. But first of all, Bruce, what band's on your shirt right there?
Some news today. Eggy, I think, just dropped their spring tour announcement. A lot of cool stuff, so you can see.
It's not a Goose podcast today. We got to shout out our boys, Eggy.
Oh, hell yeah. They're doing big things. They're going to be in New York for St. Patty's Day next Thursday at Mercury Lounge, so I'm definitely planning on checking that out. And then they got some stops in Colorado. They're going to be back up here in the Northeast in Massachusetts, a couple stops in April, Rhode Island, Fairfield, Connecticut, and back in Brooklyn. So, and then a bunch of good festivals too. They're going to be at Dome Fest with Pigeons in May. And they're also going to be at Peach Fest too.
Yep.
With Goose.
Yep.
So a lot of good stops coming up for them. Yeah.
Big shout out to Eggy. We've been able to see these guys grow for almost the past decade. It's just really cool to see that they're hitting the road like this. What came first, the goose or the egg?
Ha.
Nice.
Yeah,
thank
that's
you,
too
Greg.
much for me this morning.
And hey to our buddy Justin Seidel. Happy birthday, Justin. Hope you had a good time in DC last week.
Oh, and Goose Band Memes, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Made this hilarious Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure meme of us and the guys in the band. So check that out. I shared that on Insta. It's fucking hilarious. Thanks, man.
But don't forget, everyone, we do have a third host, Joey Parisi, who's not able to join us on Tuesdays. So when you're making memes about us, include the ghost host.
Joey's stuck in corporate prison.
Yep, there he is. Locked up, they won't let me out. All right, so we got a lot to discuss today. We've got trivia. I'll figure it out, but apparently we have trivia.
Right.
We've got some really strong giveaways Bruce posted on socials. Maybe we'll give away some Philly tickets too. We got a big weekend of sold out shows. We'll figure that out. So stay tuned because we are going to give some stuff away for all y'all today. But Bruce, trouble in paradise right now. What is going on with Dua Lipa?
Yeah, I mean, this is important that I mention this because some people are out here attacking my girl Dua Lipa, and they're just wrong about this. So apparently Dua Lipa's got a couple copyright lawsuits coming at her about levitating simply because she's using some descending scales, I guess, vocally. It sounds like a load of shit. And free Dua is my rallying cry today, but she was free Lipa. She's accused of copywriting some 1979 track called "Wiggle and Giggle All Night," which I think is absurd, and a 1980s song called "Don Diablo." So I don't know. Free Dua, Dua's my girl. She's halfway through her North America tour, so if you're out here, catch her. I know one of our podcast competitors and friends, Daniel Witt, caught her in Milwaukee. So definitely check her out. She's fire. Anyway, free duo.
Yeah, I call it free duo. I went to see Elton John a couple weeks ago at the Garden, kind of a bucket list show there, and he's got that trap with duo.
Yeah, and that actually came out pretty good. I think they did some Rocket Man lines in there, but yeah, that actually came out good. I mean, I love every single one of her tracks, and I think daily about just quitting Goose altogether and going on Dua Lipa tour.
Lipa tour, for sure.
Yeah, Lipa tour sounds really good lots of the time. So I tried to contact her about running her fan group so I could get the hell out of El Goose forever. But they just never contacted me back. But one day we'll
get there. Osiris Media, the leading storyteller in Dua Lipa related news. So thank you all for tuning in. We've got a whole lot to talk about. A big week in Goose music. And normally these guys are not rugged enough to play this many shows in a 7-day stretch.
No, they're quite fragile. You can see on stage fragile. They've barely been eating. So,
yes. Ben's got ice. But let's dig in here. So I suppose they heard the echoes in El Goose of people wanting to dissect the Goosesmith set. Was it their best show ever? Was it? I don't know. Either way, they came back strong. Hit it hard in DC on Fat Tuesday. Always forget about Fat Tuesday. What a day. Should celebrate more.
Yeah, that's a big note right there in these notes.
Bruce Day Tuesday. Yeah, so Fat Tuesday coming in strong for the band's return to 930 Club. I think their first shows at 930 Club, they were opening maybe for Sun Squabby.
Was that like 2017 or later
18,
than that?
19. Again, do we know that if this is true? Absolutely not. But
no.
But I'm pretty sure that's when they were there. So they
luckily
had to
the fans in chat know more.
Yes, they do. Somebody confirm for us, please. So they had to get back to DC, get back to 930 Club for some of those cupcakes, not pancakes, but cupcakes. And started out strong with Eliza Jane opener. I love Eliza Jane.
I do too, and it's just a classic cover in their repertoire, and it's kind of got a bouncy rhythm, kind of reminds me of Elizabeth in some ways, but a great way to open the show. Good energy, good positive energy coming from that song. So definitely a good opener.
Strong start into Drive, really good Drive.
Yeah, and Drives I'm critical of. It's a lot of Drives go kind of deep at the jams, but they're just long, and lots of the times I think people are enamored with some of them that don't hit as hard for me as when they just get into very good jam segments that I like. This Drive was really good. They got it. I really was very happy with this one. It's kind of interesting in like the 2 slots. Sometimes this happens to open sets a lot, but they were really patient with it, and then this is going to be a theme probably this whole show, but bit
of a Sunday drive.
A bit of a Sunday. Well, this was a Tuesday drive. Strange dates, but and these shows were packed for a Tuesday and Wednesday. My God, but they've been doing a lot more spookier, trancier, opening up the space in jams a bit more, and this one gets into that about 14 minutes in. And then you hear that a lot throughout these shows this past week. And the dark goose is something that everybody likes. I really do too. I don't think it's something that they need to do or need to force. But when they're playing like this, like in this Drive, it doesn't feel forced at all. And they create, a very cool, thick atmosphere. And, it just opens up the gates for them. Drive thick.
Thick. 2 C's with that. I have to say though, I'm wondering in the chat, favorite Drive by Goose, Drive by Incubus, or Drive by the Cars? Let us know what you think.
Oh,
I love Drive by Incubus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe Drive by Incubus is the best.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe one day we'll get a cover. What up, Pete Spadaro? Pete Spadaro, the strongest light man in the business.
Yeah.
So strong, stronger every time.
Strong.
Incubus could be the sneaky winner. I agree, Eric. That's why you're working in the right place, dog. We're getting a wide swath of things.
Greg Knight Music LLC.
There we go. Gino in the mix. All right, so we're only 2 songs in, and we've got a lot of shows tonight. So let's keep it moving.
This is gonna be a long one.
A little bit of a play on words here. Drive into Travelers, called AAA. I love I love Travelers also. Really nice, kind of a wide range of music to start this first set off in DC. Giving a little bit of what Goose can do across the board into a Doc Brown. Tell me about that Doc Brown, Bruce.
I love Doc Brown. Typically, it's kind of I kind of always have always been one of my higher up like Peter songs, but the jam section in Doc Brown is always really cool, but it's usually pretty standard. And this one was, again, very patient. Had like a milky, creamy feel, as I put in here, like I saw that in chocolate.
I saw that. Can you explain that a little bit more? A milky,
not really, because I think this is we're on Osiris. I think we have production guidelines, but I could get into the milky and creaminess in DMs if anybody wants to hit me up. Slide in there. But but still, generally a standard Doc Brown, they just keep it tight. It's just, but this one was a really nice one. Like if I was going to put it on a mix, of songs, this would be Doc Brown that I would choose because it's just a really great example of it. And then just a weird, it's kind of a funny set list constructed like this. You don't usually see Doc Brown this early. Drive number 2, like Travelers in the middle of the first set, and then they jump into Old Man's Boat, which is another newer song.
How creamy was this one?
Creamy and rich.
Creamy, yeah.
It's like a Werther's. Actually, we've like moved on to a hard candy, just melting in your mouth.
That's it.
It's caramel. So like, I love the old man's yacht. Old man at the spa. So then the instrumental section of this, the jam section of this, is always so money. I think that's the part that really sells me on this song, altogether.
The Old Man in the Spa, one of my favorite books. Into a brand new track. We're showing a little West Coast love. New track, California Magic.
Yeah, and I have in the notes, and I said this to you this weekend too, that I was hit right away by the lyric parts sounding to me a bit like, reminding me of some Eagles songs, like some older, maybe 70s Eagles songs, and Steve Miller Band a little bit in that kind of style. But then then now I've heard him play this again, and just I don't even know where that kind of came from. It sounded so much different to me when we heard it on the stream.
Right.
But a great song
for the West Coast. Y'all ain't got no love for Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. California Magic, though, I like it. Slapping, it slaps. I think that this is really going to develop into a cool jam. Yes, these guys are excited to get back out to the West Coast.
Yeah, and I just love. It just shows like all these new songs. Lyrically, they're good. Lyrically, they hold up with a lot of the great songs that have carried them up to this point. And I do, Rick's a great writer. Some of the songs Peter's writing these days are much more mature and developing into different sounds and stuff. And the lyrics to California Magic are great too. Those lyrical sections are great too. Perfect for Rick's vocals. So, they just keep that up and they keep winning that game with the lyrics, man. I love that.
Got a really good question in the chat. Do I throw down on guitar or is that more of wall art? These guitars primarily serve to collect dust in this room. Although I can rip a little guitar, I fall somewhere between Jive 2 and Labyrinth. Really wide swath, but I think if I wanted to get better at guitar, I'd probably call Tamara Satso for a masterclass or some lessons. Tamara can play every instrument, host these master classes where she dissects a whole bunch of different Goose songs. So check it out. If that's where you want to learn, that's where you should go. I'm going to fire up this guitar and learn from Tamara. I can't say we'll get a sit-in for me ever unless I can somehow figure out a way to rap through the guitar.
Right.
So closing out that first set with Modbond, on a scale of 1 to 6, how creamy was this Modbond?
Well, creaminess, the scale of creaminess goes deep, it goes at least to a baker's dozen or if not more, so I would definitely, put it up. It's an 11 at least, kind of like, the Dove body lotion at this point. Now it's getting really creamy and it's moisturizing your skin at the same time. Yeah, or like a vino with that oatmeal base, that's what Peter likes. So,
yes.
That's what keeps Peter's skin smooth. So this Modbond was also great, I think, talking too much about moisturizer might have backed us into a corner, but
Where do we go from here?
It's hard to get these good Modbonds, and like these good drives because they have so many of them. But so when it strikes me like this one did when I was listening to this, that it was really good. That it's hard for them to achieve that level, and they're already at DC this first set, rocking. Real, and like you said, coming out of Goosemas, man, I think there was a lot of debate about what Goosemas was as a show to people, or where they would place it. It was a very different style of show in a lot of ways. This felt more like a little bit getting back to the OG kind of Goose style, a little bit more energy, a little bit faster paced, a little less of the indie vibe. So, they're rocking.
So second set, you're one of your favorites, Disco Miss.
Yeah, dude, I love it. And this was, this one had an interesting quirk too, because, and this is great to see. I like to see this from a lot more artists, especially after what happened with the Travis Scott incident. But they stopped playing 6 minutes in because a fan had a medical issue kind of up front. So they noticed that, and they really stopped cleanly, checked if the person was all right. They got some thumbs up from the crowd, apparently, from what I've heard, and then hop right back into Mist, like right at the same point. Love it. Which is pretty impressive. But it's even more impressive that they just stopped and noticed that stuff, and they're not totally disconnected from the fans when they're in these shows. And I mean, that was a very tight spot, right? So it's a little easier to see. But I'm glad that they did that.
And I think this is just a reminder of everyone: grooming safely knows no bounds, right? Like, look out for each other, look out for the people next to you. Drink water, stay safe. These venues are packed, it gets hot in these rooms. And so just look out for the people next to you. It's really great that we can hit as many shows as possible. But as you can get kind of tired, if you don't stay hydrated, don't eat enough, it's easy to sweat. That's why Bruce and I generally stand in the back then, because we're generally offensive. So just, keep an eye out for each other. We're all in this thing together. So Into the Mist.
I wish I was there for I wish.
I wish I was there too. Last time played my wedding.
Oh yeah, your wedding. Yeah. So okay.
My wedding. That's right. So.
Oh man,
wedding version featured Tommy Weeks of the Funky Dogs Brass Band on saxophone. But obviously I wish rips. Justin Seidel's birthday request. Happy birthday, Justin. I love a good I wish. I love Rick singing about being a little nappy-headed boy. Very creamy for me. But yeah, a little bit slower than normal.
Yeah, and a little bit, and definitely a surprise. I didn't know Justin requested that. So it's a really pleasant surprise, for a lot of the fans there. But it really flowed out of Mist really well. That was one of the highlights of these two songs, for me. And then another good version of I Wish, something that they haven't played in a while since August.
Wisteria Lane up next. The one song in the catalog written by the one and only Trevor Weeks.
Yeah, Trevor's special. And this was a good one too. Third 20-minute song of the show so far. With Drive and Modbond. Modbond was just about under 20 minutes, but it's not just about length, everyone. But these were really good ones too. This Wisteria is another one they've been playing for a long time. They have a lot of good ones. They just crushed one in Mission Ballroom, and now they're kind of playing it back again too, which it's good to see it kind of getting into rotation again, because it was really kind of getting almost out of rotation for a number of months there.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think it's probably because somebody started a podcast with some of the lyrics in it.
Bastards.
But yeah, so Bruce, was this when you started to feel your Sunset Lake CBD kicking in?
Oh yeah. God, I forget at what point it was. It gets really spacey, and then it like keeps up this marching pace, like a beat. Like they're doing this like kind of drum roll kind of beat that reminds me of Dripfield and Atlas Dogs on those songs. It just like keeps this marching pace, and I was just bobbing. I don't know. I probably dropped 150 milligrams on my tongue and was just like, really loose. Loose, creamy, moisturized, all that. So it was really good.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. So they had to slow things down for Bruce's benefit into Your Ocean. Let the crowd breathe a little bit. Like the old one too. We know what Your Ocean sounds like.
Mm-hmm. And then Pancakes, man.
Pancakes,
creamy. Let me tell you, the pancakes too. He must have used heavy cream in these.
Jeez, man, this was a fantastic pancakes. I love seeing Peter's like stick figure, getting everyone to join in. Really, really cool. Just a little bit of a different structure than we're used to.
Yeah, and I think this was my favorite pancakes that they've played so far. Because it goes in a lot of different places. I like the fact that this song, the vibe of this song kind of fits what the guys do a lot, but there's something about that tone or that structure that always brings them into a different jam space than a lot of other songs will do. And Redbird kind of does the same thing, but as far as these new songs, that it brings them into a different space than a lot of their other songs tend to. So it's cool. They get cool atmosphere out of these jams. This one was like kind of operatic in the middle. Then they get into a dance groove, some cool back and forth riffs with Peter and Rick. So it's just like they just do a lot in this, and then the I Wish teases are so tasteful. So they were just really feeling it right away in Washington, man.
Yep. And then they closed it out night one with the Doobie song. I think if you've tuned in before, you know how I feel about a Doobie encore. Not exactly my favorite, but whatever. I'm not in the band. It's a fun song. And I think it's a cool way to close out night one, if you're doing a 2-night run.
So tomorrow is even
here. Maybe we should have Tamara as a guest sometime.
That would be good. I mean, we know nothing about music. We're just sitting here. I mean, you know some things.
It's all
too. I just have nothing. So we could use some help here. But that's the thing. It's just Doobie is interesting, man, because it's just like Justin thought it was whole place. It's just a slower song to cap out a show like that. So, but it just all depends on what you're feeling at that point, and it's just an encore, so something to walk away to. So, they like it in that slot, so I'm sure we'll see it again.
Yep, little creamy encore. So let's fast forward to night 2 in DC. Drive 1 opener. Drive 1 is back. Drive 1, like. I used to be a strong Drive 2 supporter. I've since changed my tune. I think Drive 1's a great way to start a show. Energy. When Rick is just ripping those scales, you see that? See that form? There's no better way to start a song than with that kind of energy. And boy, did that get the crowd popping. It really seemed like night 2 people were locked in and ready to go. So Drive 1 into Indian River, both of those tracks are pretty long. Yeah,
they were. And like you said, energy, good flow, get into Indian River. Which kind of keeps up a light pace of energy, but kind of cools things down. And then through the compose section, and then they get into the Welcome to Delta Jam, which just picks things right back up, kind of puts you right back into the energy of Jive again. So already setting up a good flow, for the show.
So you love Welcome to Delta, huh?
I love Welcome to Delta. I think it's a very cool instrumental kind of jam, and it's impossible, I think, to not have fun during that. Right. It's interesting too that it's definitely a part of Indian River. I think we can confirm that now based on the way they tend to notate it, and the only reason we got it separated from it at Pelham, and that's why it was separated from it on the cellist. That's got to be why. But I'm glad it's returned as well, and I'd love for them to keep that in a semi-regular rotation, because that's a really fun jam.
This is the kind of analysis we need. Not like it was a creamy Delta, but yes, the motif that they built in Delta was incredibly patient. And I have been really stoked about Delta since we saw it that first time in Pelham. Not just because we were flying Delta that weekend. So after Welcome to Delta, we got Dr. Darkness, a Bruce Robinson story.
Dr. Darkness, cosmetologist, he's the one that recommended the moisturizer to me. But Delta gets weird. Welcome to Delta gets weird at the end, finally, after just keeping up that little dance group for a while, and then rolls into Dr. Darkness really smooth. I'm now hearing, which I didn't hear at first, a lot of people mentioning like House of the Rising Sun kind of vibes from this song, and I'm definitely hear it much more now in it. But again, they keep it standard. It's kind of it's fits in a place like California Magic to me a little bit, where these are just some solid, standalone songs.
Right.
So that maybe, I'm assuming they're going to get to points where they're jamming these out because they like to do that with songs that you don't expect as well. But these are typically standard, and this one was. But then like an interesting, again, interesting set list and placement lately, but Same Old Shenanigans coming up after this in this set. Yeah. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, in the 4 spot of the first set. So
I like that placement.
Welcome surprise. Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah.
And as we know, because in parentheses, Dawn is in fact part of the song, we don't even need to notate it because it's part of the song.
No, we don't do that shit here.
We don't do that. No way. Come on. So closing out the first set here with Jeff Engborg, glad this song is in the rotation. This one's just going to keep growing.
Yeah, this is a jam, and because it's constructed in such a way that it has these very specifically different segments to it, that just lends itself to being able to go in all different types of directions. So yeah, definitely hope they keep this in the regular rotation.
And yeah, shout out to Jeff Engborg. It was great just to catch up with Jeff at Goosesmiths. He was definitely wearing the best Canadian tuxedo in the building, so we love that. Love it. Hey Jeff, how are we doing? Let's maybe compose another song for these guys.
Please.
We're loving it. We're loving it.
Yeah.
Loving everything you do. Love you, Jeff. So set 2 opens up with Bob Don. Roberto Donaldo. Tell me about it, Bruce.
And I mean, it's another one of those songs that it does stand alone very well, but they tend to keep it pretty standard. But I think it's a good spot. Second set opener. Gets you warmed up and fired up with the aggressive solo towards the end. But then it's like, where do they go next, from that? And they kept that one pretty standard, and then they go into Flow Down, and I'm like, yes. I mean, Flow Down I just always loved, dude.
I like that. I like that, like, straight up rock song, and you just go right into Flow Down. And as we know, the Flow Down intro, it's evolved over the years, nice and spooky for Dr. Darkness himself, Mr. Robinson.
Aha, yes. I was really getting off on this intro. Not no innuendo there, but it was. I love that. I love that very dark, spooky kind of lead up that's keeping that fast pace, and it almost makes you question at times, even though the drum line that it's Flow Down. It's just like, where are they going to go with this? And they've been doing that a bit, these really extended and super cool intros for Flow Down since like those South Farm shows in 2020, I think, were the first times I noticed a longer intro. And so now they're doing all kinds of cool stuff with that. Always welcomed that. And this was just a great second choice in the set.
Yep, for sure. So follows up by Time to Flee. Definitely kind of a standard Flea. Flea had this incredible run during the fall. Every fall tour has just, every fall tour, every Flea this fall, all the Texas Fleas, Colorado, like really, really went deep. So it was nice to see kind of just a normal Flea. Yeah.
Actually, it kind of was. It kind of felt like that too. It's like okay to not have to take Rosewood or Flea out, for a 20-minute. John every single time. But this had a good jam that they got into. Even if it was a little shorter than normal, and then flowed super nicely into Nights in White Satin, which was also a good choice. I love when they drop this in like these second sets. It's just so epic, and everybody just gets so down with it. Everybody's singing the chorus and everything. And it's a good vocal reprieve between jamming, because then they get into Need.
Yep. So I don't want to talk about All I Need. You tell them what you think.
Greg can't get enough Need these days. But yeah, it's like this is a big one. The Need into this era people were talking about after the show, and it's like this was a very huge segment. I think it's like a 50-minute segment altogether with the 2 songs, something close to that. And Need, I was listening to it. I kind of heard Need. I zoned out immediately, like mentally went to the bathroom. And then, so I suddenly I'm doing something and I hear it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's Need, it's like 10 or 11 minutes in, it's in this darker jam kind of space. Kind of reminded me, and I know we don't mention Fish on here. We do not, that's against the rules, but it sounded a little bit like a Spit Open Mel jam. What band? So, really weird and proggy and the dark overtones. It was really nice. And then leading into Arrow, dude, where they kind of kept this like much more aggressive kind of tone going into that intro.
Yeah, and good question here from Greg Roberts. Try Naughty Dolphin Pizza if you're ever in Fairfield. Does coach make the final decisions on set lists, or is it a team effort? It is a team effort. It's a cool process to watch, though. And you know, as we can see, sometimes there are audibles. So,
right.
I guess 76 was written down on the set list, and they moved into Arrow. Great Belichick move by Rick there.
Oh, I mean, it was. And it's funny when they audible into something like that. That sounded so like planned almost, because they just went so naturally from that dark space in AIN, wrapped up AIN, and into this Arrow intro that was just, you know, had that Bob Don kind of grit, and it was like, dude, this is an intro to Arrow, and it took them a few minutes to even get to the beginning of Arrow, and it just flowed so perfectly through that transition that it was like, damn, I can't believe this was unplanned, you know. Yeah, you picked up on some too. Yeah, so it's just that the weird back and forth that they were doing, and Rick's kind of creating more space in some of these jams by just like, you know, picking on notes instead of flowing through a lot of notes at a time. So that you were kind of hearing that there too. And yeah, that Arrow could have been Jam of the Year. I mean, that Arrow was outrageous Arrow.
I mean, we've got a whole lot more year coming. So we'll see. Closed out the show with Love Light. Yeah. Shout out to Russo. We love Russo. Russo's least favorite cover.
He loves his Love Light. He wasn't there, unfortunately, to enjoy this one. But it is a classic cover for Goose to encore with or close us out with. So good show, though. Those DC shows, I love those DC shows a lot. Those just really remind me of some old school Goose with a lot different set list and placement of songs. So keeping that vibe going with a lot of the new stuff and trying different things. And man, what such great jams throughout that 2-day run.
Let us know in the chat what you like more, DC1 or DC2. Really hard to pick for me, but let us know what you think in the chat. And let's move on to Charlotte.
All right. Charlotte, another Fillmore venue, which people have had some mixed feelings about this venue. I mean, it's fun that they're in some of these smaller venues, but when they get packed like this, and it's a venue that typically has, you know, curious security protocols and whatnot, you know, it's just kind of a recipe for some incidents to happen. But you know, for the most part, I think everybody had a good time. So
we can preface just about everything we talk about with people weren't too happy with this.
Yes, we could. But this is a positive show. We're positive. I'm drinking positive energy tea right now. So
positivity. Positivity. So Charlotte opened up with Honeybee with Coach on Rainstick, as we know, the Rainstick master himself. Interesting. This is just an interesting little story. So when they recorded the Studio Butter Rum that was on Nightlights, we were all out in Colorado, the January 2019 run. And they recorded it in the studio out there, and John played like just a very simple conga beat or something like that. And I remember sending out the press release for it when I was not exactly great at structuring press releases correctly. And we got this Jambase article that came out, and it was like, Goose releases new single featuring percussionist Luigi Lombardi. Luigi. Yeah. So kind of hilarious there. But good to see that Coach is still rocking that percussion. So, you know, good standard Honeybee to open things up. We all know how that sounds. Bruce, how creamy was the Honeybee?
Oh, Honeybee's always creamy, you know. That's where you're getting that like natural honey just dripping out of the comb, you know. And you know, which right into the tea, right into the hot tea. If you want to go there with this whole illusion, I did. Okay. And then
did go into creatures. So
thank God.
Honey covered creatures. So I love first set creatures.
Oh yeah, and this is a big one too for the first set. 23 minutes or something. Yeah. And I jumped into this halfway through on a stream on El Goose, and God, I wish I wrote down whoever was streaming. I forgot now, but and thank you for that. But so if anybody in the chat knows, we'll shout them out. But I jumped in halfway through, and it's one of those times where I'm like kind of pissed that I don't know what song it might be, even if, it's in a jam, I might not be able to recognize it. I expect to, and I don't want to ask, the other fans, because I'm an expert, I'm a group expert. I'm an expert. Yep. I'm an analyst, I'm a mid-level analyst. So, I should know, but I did have to ask him, and they were like creatures. And then it went on for another 10 minutes or so. And it was such a sick jam out of this Creatures. So it's like, really, when you're getting a second set kind of Creatures, second song, the first set, that's a good sign.
Following up by Pumped Up Kicks, Foster the People cover. Whole crowd was singing, So
yeah.
That just sounded very energetic.
And they haven't played. It sounded very positive energy.
It sounded energy. Let me get some water here.
Energy. Yeah. So hey, you need some positive energy tea.
Need some positive tea.
Positive tea. Oh, damn. Oh, Greg's choking. This podcast is live. Somebody save Greg.
My God. Okay. We're back.
First Pumped Up Kick since T5. But and when they played it at T5 too, they haven't played in a while. Man, and it's fun when the crowd gets into it, very energy.
Very energy, such energy.
Oh man. And then Elizabeth coming up. Another high energy song. And this one was really good. Yeah.
Smacked. Yeah. That was good.
And they really slow this one down too, which you don't see in the jam. It's like you're getting into your typical Elizabeth jam, and then you really slow it down, kind of get a little bluesy. And like I said, it's kind of been the theme that they slow it down. Rick doing more with less notes for longer periods of time, trying to spread things out. Peter's really always good in those situations with also keeping things minimal. And fitting in really well in between some of that stuff that Rick's doing. And you hear a little bit of that in this Elizabeth. I had heard it was good, so I tried to listen to it this morning. I'd been listening to Charlotte in pieces, but I did make a point to listen to it, and it was really fire.
Yep. Fantastic. Followed up by Silver Rising. I'm going to ride this joke till it's death. From the soundtrack of the new Teen Wolf reboot. But good Silver Rising. Really liking how this song is coming into its own. But I think kind of a standard version.
Yeah, but still cool, very cool. And then led right into a sick Tumble. I mean, I've just been very impressed so far with these few shows as I was listening through with how many big songs that they were putting together and great versions of them, of some of these songs that they played a million times. And Tumble was another one. Just can't get enough of it when they play it like this. And it gets trancy in the middle, which I always love when Goose does some of that stuff. But fire throughout and kept up a good pace and energy. This whole set did, I love these higher energy sets like this from these guys.
Let's talk about probably one of my highlights of this past week, which is set to Slow Ready into Hot Tea. I'm team So Ready till I die, but that could have convinced me to maybe change my mind. Slow Ready into Tea was one of those buttery segues, creamy if you will, silky. I mean,
Irish butter, that gold butter,
that Kerrygold,
Kerrygold, baby,
Kerrygold transition. The Slow Ready itself was pretty long, like that jam went pretty deep. But for Peter to keep that arpeggiated synth going and Rick to just ride into the hot tea, I mean, like, what more can you ask for? Besides So Ready.
Besides maybe So Ready. But no, and plus what more was that, so you not only had a great version of Slow Ready in and of itself, which there's only a few, in my opinion, that really stand out as good, like re-listenable versions. And, in that I love Slow Ready and really met all of the versions of it just because I love the song. But like that one from South Farms with the Lasers was also a very good version musically to re-listen to. This could be one of the best versions, if not the best version that they played. And then the Hot Tea, another one of these songs that they've played huge versions of so many times. This is another great one. Still different from Carrying. That transition has its different feel throughout because of this. And then they go back into this Slow Ready jam later in the Hot Tea jam. And it's this is it was no surprise why they released this on YouTube. It has its own thing right away. And Getty's Lights, dude, during this.
So I want to talk a little bit about this because we're going to get into it, I think, as we talk about the shows from this weekend. But it seems like there's almost been like these bumpers second set where like energy gets super high and then they're playing something a little bit more slow and accessible, like mid to late second set. Happened with Redbird on Saturday night. So I love Western Sun. It's one of my favorite Goose songs. Kind of interesting placement to me after that Slow Ready Hot Tea. I mean, I can imagine everyone just needed a second to chill, but to play that, kind of that and that placement really calmed things down.
Yeah, I'm okay with that though, because when you open something like this huge piece of music, it's like almost 40 minutes of music with Slow Ready and Hot Tea, and it's such a high energy pace the entire time, and gets psychedelic and weird and crazy, and Getty's weaving baskets with the lights and stuff. So then, and you get into Western Sunday, it's like I think it's almost like a classic strategy, and something that Fish can, when they're playing a really good second set, they can do very well. Dropping in a fast enough for you or something like that at the right spot, or what's the use? It's like filling those gaps with something that's of great song. Everybody loves to hear Western Sun. Keeping that short enough that it's not like everybody's falling asleep from that,
Right.
And then just giving everybody that little break and a breathing room before you get into another big jam vehicle with White Lights, which they took.
Definitely. And they took that White Lights for a ride. I guess it's kind of like, if I had to make an analogy outside of referencing Fish, I would say it's kind of like if Dua Lipa dropped into like a Break My Heart.
Right, or like a Wiggle and Giggle All Night, or whatever the fuck. Free Lipa.
Free Lipa. That's right.
You can't copy Descending Scales.
That's it. Yeah, nobody's ever singing Descending Scale before. Free Lipa. We're gonna get Lipa on this podcast.
Dude, please, God.
Close the show with Dancing in the Moonlight. Love it. That's always, like I say, Dancing in the Moonlight and Escape, the Pina Colada song, are like the litmus test for Peter on keys. Go back and listen to a Dance in the Moonlight from 2018, listen to one now, and you can hear how much Peter's grown. Absolutely incredible. Always a fun sing-along to end a show.
Yeah, definitely. I love the one in Aspen too, when we actually had some kind of full moon out or whatever. The guys are so smart and connected. But it was great, and I love hearing that. I love some of these sing-along songs,
Definitely.
Like we get with Magic Carpet Ride coming up in this next show as well.
Sure is. Broken Bowl, Nashville, Tennessee. First time in Nashville for the band. Surprisingly first time, especially considering didn't Peter go to school in Nashville? You go to Belmont?
Oh, he looks like a Belmont guy. Yeah, probably.
Master's program. He did some sort of program there. Peter spent some time in Nashville. Even if he didn't, we said he did. Nashville, first time in Nashville. I remember seeing Pete Shapiro, concert impresario. Tune into our studio episode released tomorrow with an interview with Shapiro. Saw him a few weeks back, and he mentioned how excited he was about those Nashville shows. He actually ended up going out for the first time at his venue there, and they did their thing in Nashville.
They did.
So Alice Dog opener, Saints Go Marching In teases. What are you thinking about Alice Dogs?
Like we say, like kind of every episode, because they've been playing it a lot, but it's I just always have mixed feelings about this song, but it felt well placed here to start this show. And it has a good energy to it. And I do think, I was watching the show with Russo on Friday night, and we were both saying, it just feels like there's just something, like they're going to figure out whatever it is from the song that might be missing, or something that they just need to change a tiny bit. And then I will probably change my tune completely on it. It's not like I dislike it. It's just, I just don't, it's just, sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Sometimes it feels a little slow, even though it has that fast drum pace to it. But I like this one. I like this one to open the set. It was a long one. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And it just, they kind of flip flop, depending on how it sounds and where they put it in these sets.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah.
But into a butter rum, strong little type 2 butter rum there.
Yeah. I'm a butter rum fan. I know people don't like it, but I
think I'm glad. Like, it seems like butter rum took a little bit of a rest for a second, and they've resurrected it, and now they've been able to kind of go deep with it. Like Aspen rum was wild.
Aspen rum was sick.
I had to step out. I stepped out in Aspen to get some fresh air. And
fresh mountain air.
Yes, had to get that fresh mountain air. I was clamoring for oxygen up at altitude there. So when I came back in, I was like, this is still butter rum. Whoa, like that was insane. And this butter rum really, really ripped as well. Allegedly, there were Bubble House by MMW teases. I have to go back and listen to Bubble House.
Yeah, I'd have to listen. I felt like it had some Lee. Me and Russo thought they got into Lee. It sounded like a Lee jam at some point. So, which a lot of things actually kind of did this weekend. Lee weekend. Shout out
Leakend. Yeah,
Leakend
for sure. It's the freaking Leakend. So next up, It Burns Within. Love it. Good little throwback. Glad that's back in the rotation.
Mm-hmm. And now it's just kept short and standard and sweet as well. Into the Whales, another kind of standalone, short and sweet.
Brass Bonanza.
It was maybe a little bit of a slower portion of this first set, but still just kind of getting their feet under them and everything. I thought I like the Whales too. And it's just, admittedly from It Burns Within to the Whales, just a little bit of a slower kind of segment after an Atlas Stars and Butter Rum. That was a lot of high energy. But then Whales, I thought, transitioned really nicely into Switching too, which took me by complete surprise.
Man,
never see a Switching at this spot ever.
It's usually an opener.
Usually an opener, set opener. And
I love Switching. I'm so glad Switching. I'm always happy to hear Switching. A little Wes Montgomery, Rick taking that thing for a ride. Really, really solid Switching, and then another Pancakes.
Possibly. I'm looking at this set list again, and from memory, it's possibly, besides the Yeti and Magic Carpet Ride, I mean, this was the highlight of the show. Yeah. And arguably, and this Pancakes was sick. Pancakes is growing on me because of that. I definitely was somebody who wasn't hating on the lyrics, just seemed a little weird with the vibe of the song. But the band's weird. And who likes Pancakes anyway? Just weirdos. And I'm a waffle guy. So
Team Waffles all day, dude. And
all day.
I'll make that for French toast.
Yeah. But this had that smooth and creamy, real maple syrup on it. And, some melted butter just dripping off the edges of the cakes. And this was a good one. Yeah. This jam was sick. They really took it deep, and I think even for me with Russo there, he was, I think kind of on the fence about Pancakes, and both of us were like, this is sick.
They did that one for Aunt Jemima. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
Set 2, Born. Really loving where Born's going. This indie jam going deep.
And they kept, this one being 10 minutes, not much, I guess with the standard version, single release was like 4.5 or 5 minutes, something like that, maybe. But so a little bit extended, but felt tight, almost felt like a kind of a weird spot for this. But they'd been doing this with the new songs when they were starting out West and doing that, opening the second set with one of them. Maybe keeping it relatively standard and then moving on to a next song that's a typical second set opener like Rockdale, kind of fits.
One thing about Born, I want to shout out Richard for figuring out his tone. Richard Hamilton. So I want to have him. I want to shout him out just because his tone playing those slide guitar parts, or not that the lap steel guitar parts, like hard to replicate that sound, and not everybody can be Jake Brownstein of Eggy and just rip it on stage. And he really figured that out. So good. Yeah. Good. It's almost like he's a professional.
They know what he's doing.
Rockdale, solid.
Always. I mean, I don't know what else I can really say about Rockdale other than I love this song. And I love the vocal section at the end that you get to go back to. It's such like a release. What a great song, man. Really,
one of the greatest Rockdales we've heard. Shout out to Ryan Storm. I think he tweeted about it. Anyone who says they should retire Rockdale doesn't know what they're talking about. So, Ryan, you hit that one on the head.
The Goat Dale, baby. I agree, Noah.
That's it. So Seekers 1 and 2 next up. It's been a little bit polarizing. I love Seekers 1 and 2, but they are, it is a little bit of a change in energy, especially part 1 into part 2. But it's, part 2 goes hard in the paint.
Oh, it does. It does go very hard in the paint. But yeah, I think these have gotten a lot of play since he brought them, back to life and started playing these songs. I don't know, now a year and a half ago or something like that. They do get a lot of play, and I just think that's what happens. Is these songs get into a bit of a regular rotation, and people just kind of get maybe used to it, and then they're like, oh, I wish they maybe slowed this down something else, or oh, I wish they kept this energy going instead of dipping into a little slower segment here. But as big Seekers fan myself, I always like to hear it. I don't think this was poorly placed per se at all. I do think that they've had some times recently where it may have slowed down the show a little bit too much. But I don't really think this did. I think this, this was a good opportunity after a huge Rockdale to take a quick breather. They kept both of these songs tight, Yeah. And then they picked it right back up with Yeti.
This is what we need to talk about. Yeah. So Yeti, first of all, no shade because things happen, but I feel like Peter's guitar was a little bit out of tune and he had to fix that up at the beginning. But it didn't really matter. He had time to tune up when they dropped right into Trevor reading probably the greatest piece of American poetry ever, Chicken Fried by Zach Brown Band.
It was exquisite.
That is one of those legendary moments that will echo throughout history forever. Bruce and I both studied English at UConn, and as such, we can recognize great and classic American literature. So, Chicken Fried,
Yeah, I actually was a British literature guy. American literature is a little
Brit lit.
Yeah, it's a little just I don't know, clunky.
What do you mean?
Me.
A pair of kids that fit this right and the radio up.
But there's no doubt.
See the sunrise, see the love in a woman's eyes, feel the touch of a precious child. A little strong there, Zachary. No,
yeah. Zach going into some weird space there. Okay,
type 2. But Trev, ripped it up. The only person I would want to hear reading that is Trevor. Poured himself a little Mountain Dew.
Yeah, a little fresh Mountain Dew. And Johnny going backstage, dapping up Pete Shapiro and then rolling a strike, man. And we had played pretty bold for one of our friends' birthdays not too long ago, and I didn't see that skill out of him there, John. But he stepped up and just with one roll.
that was flames.
We jumped up on the stream. Rizzo and I were like, oh, hell yeah, That was great. And then dropping back into Yeti is sick, just a nasty Yeti. I kind of wish they could have just done this Yeti for the next 30 minutes,
Absolutely. Yeti into Magic Carpet Ride.
Magic Carpet Ride was a good choice though too. Kept the energy going. People love that. It always feels like a surprise now to drop into it. It's only played it 3 times. But a great Magic Carpet Ride too. Took that jam for a ride. You could see what I did there. That's that English degree paying off.
That was incredible.
Thank you, Mom and Dad, for paying for that. And and then wrapping the show up with a Turn Clouds in the encore spot, which we always talk about where this should go. And I think it's a good encore. Yeah, I like it.
It's a great encore. Absolutely. I could have done with the Chicken Fried encore, but this will work.
Little Chicken Fried reprise.
Yeah, fried prize. So Nashville 2, Jive 2 opener into Jive Lee. Energy. So why don't we talk a little bit about our Saturday night?
Okay, yeah. Me, Greg and I streamed with some of the Goose girls. Sparkman, Liz was there. Sam was there. Oh, your wife, Kathleen.
My wife, our manager, Kathleen.
Yes, our manager for the podcast. So yeah, we just got together and watched the stream. It was a lot of fun.
We basically just gushed over the guys with their girlfriends for the night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Typical. And so Yeah, the energy was great, man. I had heard some things, some people do not love this set. And I mean, which you don't have to, but I was like, this set was pretty damn good. The Jive 2 maybe was standard, led right into a Jive lead, which was hot. And then into a lead, which was a really good lead. And I love Lead the Way. And this is a good spot for Lead the Way. Third song in the second set. Then, the EOA was really stellar. They've gotten rid of this.
Though, that Lead the Way was like, Sparkman and I had a moment, a couple tears. Soaring jam. Absolutely soaring jam. And not one of those super like long extended one, but to the point, just dulcet tones sweeping through the room.
It reminded me of that lead that's on Alive and Well, the lead from the 2019 tour from Albany. I believe that it's just so, or from Virginia. Yeah,
from Broadbury.
From the Broadbury in November.
Richmond.
It's so beautiful.
Rickman.
Rickman.
Rickman, Virginia.
Richmond.
Yes, Richmond. So great lead. And the Earthling was really strong too.
I was like, is this at one point, I was like, is this still Earthling? Because the jam was really, you kind of tell it was still with the pacing and everything, but it was just really, really good. Caught my ear at one point because I was obviously chomping through this whole set with the girls.
Yeah, you were chomping hard.
Chomp, and chomping on that chili that Liz brought, which was dope. But yeah, so it was really high energy, man, and this whole set just felt how high energy, felt that old school Goose vibe. Tell they really were ready to go night 2. So I was surprised to see some, alternate takes on this first set, but that's just how subjectivity is with this stuff. So
yep. And then after Earthling, we had California Magic. Dun, 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 dun. Of course, Rick's ode to Tupac, second time this week. Absolutely slapped. Okay, so let's dig into set 2 here, because set 2 was some masterful work from these guys. Shout out to Brian Brinkman at Osiris, our Obi-Wan Kenobi. Brian said it could have been the best second set of Goose ever. Let us know your thoughts in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know, where I would place this set. I think lots of times I don't even think about ranking shows sometimes so much as sets, which seems like an easier kind of segment of music to rank. And there have been some really, really phenomenal single sets that these guys have put together. This one did strike us at the time as being extremely good, notably good, where many times during the show, we were like, making comments about, oh my God, this Echo, this Rosewood, back into the Echo, sick. And then just such good. Oh, and it's so nice. And then like there's these fast Echoes too, which people have mixed feelings about as well. Dude, I think all of the ones lately have just produced some really exceptional moments. You had the fast Echo that was split up as well in Oregon, which was exceptional. And this was another example of that, but sandwiching an incredible Rosewood in between an incredible Echo. And then capping that off with an Arcadia after that was another really top tier Arcadia. Was just, So, I mean, you can see where Brian's coming from a little bit with this set. It just hit after hit, and they really took them to places that were incredible.
I mean, this is like I'm just looking at the times here: 22-minute Echo, 21-minute Rosewood, back into Echo, and then you get a 20-minute Arcadia.
Yeah,
damn! Like,
it flowed, like Brian mentioned on the text. It flowed too, and it wasn't like one big huge hit, different place. It was just like it really flowed so well all together. That's why I also made a mistake when we were listening, thinking that it was still Echo when we were listening to the Rosewood Hard Jam, and I was just like all thrown off with this stuff, especially after the Arcadia though. What a great Arcadia.
All right, we got someone who knows something here. There isn't a better set 2/encore. I would agree, and like I was saying earlier, like those bumpers, right? So after Arcadia, we got Red Bird. Which I was a little bit curious about the placement there.
Same with me.
Little bit curious about the placement, but man, did that jam go on.
Yeah, it was like this not more than a few minutes after, we were like, this Redbird, man, was that really what they wanted to do after all that?
Did
and
they
then
mean to do that? Yeah.
Whoops.
Yep.
Who audibled this?
Yep.
But then, it was, it ended up working out pretty well. It was a really, really good Redbird, and talking about the different spaces they get in with these songs. I mean, kind of a much different space that still kept the vibe of this whole set going once they got into that Redbird jam.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that Redbird jam was it. Sold. And then closing out the set with State of the Art, Sometimes Why, the ballad song. So great State of the Art.
Cool closer.
Okay. We don't do this enough, but big ups to Andrew Getty, lighting director. Andrew Getty, went so, this whole week. I mean, seeing from Goosemas on, just seeing what he has been doing, the intentionality with each song, the way that he can make all this work, even if it's just turning off the lights. During the State of the Art, he's on point. Love Getty. He's such a big part of this,
That Brooklyn Bowl too, which we talk about a little bit more in our set on our episode tomorrow. So check that out with that the light setup in there, man. And it's just what happens when you have somebody who knows live music well, and these are new venues, and they just set up for live music, and all of the ways that could be done, and the light setup in the Brooklyn Bowl was awesome. You gave Getty all of these different angles to shoot lights out from, the horizontal angle above the crowd, all of the kind of stuff that he was doing in an arena at Mohegan, he was kind of able to pull off on a much smaller scale here in Brooklyn Bowl. You could tell on the video. So it was big shout out to him. He's just one of the most exceptionally talented people in and around this band, and it's just so fortunate to have him on board.
Closing out the show with
a drip drop,
dripping time, Drip Van Winkle, Drip Hamilton,
Janice Droplin,
Janet's Droplin,
Buffalo Dripfield,
Dripfield, man. I mean, I cannot wait to see how this, what this turns into. Just for the second live performance of Dripfield. Yeah,
I can't. Oh, that's crazy, but it's so good. Yeah, it is really so good. It might be my favorite new song.
Yep. I can't. I mean, it's just that was it. Go back and listen to that show if you haven't. I mean, that Dripfield, 17 minutes. Just what a way to close out the show.
Yeah, I need to listen to that whole second set and encore again just to see, because it really, because we were listening pretty intently, but I got to just take a minute to check that out on its own and see, because that was really something else.
All right, Bruce, we got one more show to talk about. Then we've got a Fire Flames giveaway from our homies Barbell Arts. Right,
okay, Arts. So we'll try to get to that. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
Thanks for hanging out. But we got one more show to discuss here. So in the chat, raise your hand if you were in Knoxville last night. Always like to see how people raise their hands. Raise your hands if you were in Knoxville last night. A little bit of a sleeper. Never miss a Monday show. Shout out to John Weber for the El Goose stream. I, was kind of in bed by 8:30 last night. So Bruce, I'm going to lean heavily on you for some analysis today. How was that flea to open up?
Very cool. They kind of locked in right away on that. They had all gotten massages before the show. From a massage therapist in the area. Rachel posted some pics in El Goose with the guys, and had some nice words about the band and crew. So shout out to her, because obviously you could tell right away these guys were loosened up. I would have thought they just took a bath with CBD, but they were loose. They felt good. The flea was good. And then again, Travelers in an interesting
in the two spot again,
that one spot, yeah. So, but that was cool. I mean, the flea really set a nice pace for it. Flowed into the Travelers well. Got another first set Doc Brown here.
Creamy Doc.
Another creamy Doc. Another creamy cosmetologist doctor, and another great jam segment. Again, pretty standard. So seeing some similarities here in this set. A little bit, and then dropping into a first set Wisteria, which was really melodic, not as kind of psychedelic and trancing spacey, but much more melodic. Man, I have a lot of fish references in these notes. I hate myself for it, but it did remind me a little bit.
Come on, dog.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. My brain's not working. So it was kind of like a simpler theme from the bottom kind of jam to me a little bit. I was kind of hoping it would go a little longer too before they changed direction. And then they shifted into Dr. Darkness, another great skincare physician. And, it was a good transition too from that. And then we hit the big highlight from the first set. Look out, Cleveland.
Yeah, aren't they playing in Cleveland this week?
They do happen to be playing a show in 2 nights in Cleveland, but decided that Knoxville was the place for this.
Yes, look out, Knoxville.
Yeah, I mean, par for the course with these blaze heads. But this look out Cleveland, which I think they dropped into, it kind of felt a little sudden. I was like kind of laughing at that. But then the look out Cleveland just gets going, and they really took it out there. Had a very mean section in the jam. And then Rick does this cool thing where it really feels like they're going to almost like wrap this up. Like he's really kicking it up a notch, going to end it with some huge crescendo or whatever. And then they slow it really way down, which was very cool to see. And again, like I said earlier, the theme of this kind of week with getting into these very slow and more open space jams. So this one was just like, your traditional build up. They get into a really slow part, which is very cool. Only lasts about a minute or two. Can't really remember. And then they suddenly come back out. Rick goes right back to work again. This is always a fan favorite because they cry. Let's go to work. And he does. And then they wrap it up, man. It was really cool. Really, I think pulled this set out, which was maybe a little bit of a slower set, comparatively to some of the stuff that we've been talking about in Nashville or DC, for example.
Second set, Empress
to open the second set, I was very happy about. I was like, I'm not going to watch the second set. It's getting late. But I was like, well, it started and I was online still, so I checked it out. Empress opener, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll listen. This Empress is really good. Peter was really shining on this one. Trevor bass solo was a little short, and then Peter just comes out and just crushes, leading this jam on the keys. So that's always I was like, that's a great way to start. This set's gonna be good. And then after the Great Empress, moving into Silver Rising, which felt like they were going to take this Silver Rising places. And then, unfortunately, I don't know if John Webber was getting harassed by security or not, but it looked like he had to put his phone away real quick. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I'll drop off. But it was a little bit after that vocal round section. I do love so much when Rick and Peter lock in together on the vocals. After that, it kind of puts you in this little, like, hypnotizes you in this trance with the vocal rounds between him, Rick, and Jeff. And then, Peter and Rick lock in and drop into the instrumental and solo section, and it's just the crowd loves it. Really hits so hard, and then wrapping it up with a flow down, Dark Horse, which is in a different tempo again.
How was that Dark Horse in the chat? Let us know last night. I haven't had a chance to listen. How was that Dark Horse?
Unfortunately, I didn't look some back to. I think he got a stream going again, but people have mixed feelings about this. I think when they try these different tempos, it was the same for me with Fast Echo. It'll be interesting to see how they develop it in this way. And then Mas Que Nada with no I. It's Portuguese. Okay,
so it's actually spelled with an I is the Portuguese spelling.
No, without it, isn't it?
No, because Portuguese, mas, M-A-S is Spanish, mas. Portuguese, mais is how you say mais, is how it's pronounced, mais que nada.
We're going to look into this. I believe him, but I can't be wrong on this podcast.
Mais que nada. Who knows? I didn't listen to the show last night, but I just know, there's a couple things I know. So
one of them is Portuguese, folks.
Mais que nada, Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66. Quinn, thank you for agreeing. So regardless of how you spell it, the song's fire.
Yeah. It's always another one of these old classic covers and that they've been doing now since their first Austin Powers.
Yeah. Yep.
So, how many do they have now? How many Austin Powers movies are there?
Right. Austin Powers 6, Return to Bragg. Closing it out with
here you go.
So ready. You already know.
Here's your So Ready, baby.
So damn. Again, like wasn't there last night. I would have been sweaty. How was that? How was that so ready last night?
Joe Rogan it, baby. That's what we do, Jamie.
That's it. Keep it Rogan. All right. So that's it. We've successfully talked about all of these shows. And, only a few more shows on this tour before a long break until the Asheville and Sweetwater weekend. So we're going to get a little bit of a break. What are we going to do in between next week and the end of April?
Relax. Don't spend less money on the guys.
Yeah, right. So Royal Oak in Michigan, Agora and Cleveland, and then 2 nights at the Fillmore in Philly to wrap up winter tour. I mean, this flew by.
It did, but I'm super excited for Philly, man. I couldn't be more excited. The way they've been playing lately has even got me FOMO in a little bit. So I'm looking forward to this weekend for sure. They're really gonna, I think, bring the heat.
Best cheesesteak in Philly's, Jim's on South Street. Don't at me.
Big claim.
Big claim. That's it. There's one that I know. All right, so let's do a giveaway. Here. Bruce, you got the product?
I do. So check it out on our Instagram and our Facebook page. I have took some pictures. It is a black velvet steely print. It's absolutely fire. It's in the other room. So while Greg lines up the trivia question, I'll be right back. This is live.
Surprise. I've got a trivia question prepared. All right. So first of all, I'm going to let Bruce get this product so you guys can all see it. But this is a good trivia question, one I'm very excited about because I happen to prepare. Look at that steely. Whoa.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marvel Arts.
Printed on this black velvet fabric that's just really nice too. So shout out to them.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So today's trivia question, we are answering the trivia question in the chat. Don't email us, I won't see it. Trivia question in the chat. During Bingo Tour Summer 2020, we had a whole series of events. One night, Coach and Bonnie, his wife Bonnie, hosted cooking where they made tacos and nachos. Their second night of cooking, what is the meal that Coach and Bonnie made? What are the 2 dishes Coach and Bonnie made during Bingo Tour 2020? Night 2, answer in the chat. Chat. What was the meal that Coach and Bonnie led us through cooking night 2 of Bingo Tour 2020? Not night 2, but their second night cooking. Let us know in the chat. Not the nachos. Let us know in the chat. You guys have a chance to win this Farwell Arts. It is.
Can tell you can't be meatballs either.
Nah, it's definitely not meatballs.
While we're waiting for people to research, just another big shout out to Eric and Michelle from Barvell Arts. That not only did they donate that print, they donated some other cool stuff. We got these cool Great Beyond jars. We're going to give one away in an upcoming episode and some other products. So stay tuned for that. Also, Amy from A Circus of Light, who I had wore her hoodie on the show the other day, she's sending us some cool drawstring bags with some of these light prints that I've seen. They look awesome. So stay tuned for that. A lot of cool giveaways. And like Greg had said, maybe some tickets coming up one of these days too. So
we don't have
a
winner.
Tuned.
We don't have a winner yet. I have the 2020 Bingo Tour schedule up in front of me. Hint. So I can see the trivia question. What was the second meal that Coach and Bonnie led us through cooking during Bingo Tour 2020? It's on the schedule. If you can find that, we've got merch up for grabs.
Mushroom walnut tacos sound interesting.
On fire. I've had mushroom walnut tacos before. They were fantastic. It's on the schedule. I mean, dig deep into the catacombs. You got a chance to win. Unfortunately, it was not Trevor takes his shirt off, and that sounds like a delicious snack. A little creamy snack there.
Creamy snack.
Your chance to win. Looks like we may have a winner. We're close. There it is.
In.
Peter Chase.
Get it?
zucchini fritters and potato salad. That is it.
All right, Peter.
Peter Chase,
Nice
you
win.
won. Feel free to reach out to Bruce directly because I am bad at using our mailbox. Ryan Storm, you were close with zucchini fritters, but you forgot the potato salad on the side. I'm sorry, dog. Peter Chase, you won this beautiful Steely from Barbell Arts. Thank you so much. All of you guys for tuning in today. We're closing out Winter Tour this week, and we'll be back live. But tune in tomorrow. Episode's going live. Our interview with Pete Shapiro. What else, Bruce?
Free Lipa, free Dua Lipa.
Free Dua Lipa.
That's a big one. Check out Eggy on their spring tour. Check out Barbell Arts, dude. And thank you for checking us out here on The Great Beyond. Obviously, these live episodes are always an experience, but it wouldn't be anything if we couldn't bring you all along. So thanks for coming.
That's it. Tune in next time. Take a ride with us on the pathway to
The Great Beyond.
Glow. Knowledge is the pathway to each and every soul. Brandishing a band of light, the footsteps of giants.
Osiris.